Good evening and welcome to the first episode of Seatbelt Spirit Talk Box. I am your host, Pam Symes, so please enjoy me on the ride home as we communicate with spirits that like to ride in cars. So I am using Spirit Talker, the paranormal research device designed both for Apple and Android. Apple, you can find it in the Apple Store. Android and Google Play, definitely worth the $3.99. Highly recommend it. So far my first word has come through tonight is bad and
wave.
So I believe the spirit is waving hello to all of you that are watching this, and I hope you enjoy. Now, the goal for the Spirit Talk Box in the ride home is to see what spirits decide to make their presence known on my little ride home, on my evening commute. I use the Spirit Talk. Sorry guys, I had a car that I am driving, so I have to pay attention to the road as well. So the last few nights I've tried this experiment and I've had some pretty good response from Spirit. So Spirit, welcome. I have the Spirit Talker app open. Edwin. Okay, so tonight I have Spirit Edwin that it's going to be communicating with us as we go along for the ride. Edwin will be sharing some of his story with us. And as he speaks to us and I ask questions, we're hopefully going to piece a little bit of Edwin's story together and maybe form some information along the route. This is also brand new to me.
Stacy.
So I have Edwin and Stacy, or is Stacy a relative, a love? Can you tell me more, Edward? Edwin, sorry, my bad. I really enjoy these talks that I have on my ride home at night, so please feel free to share. Are you from the area? The community which I live in used to be industrial and farmland. Maybe you were here visiting. Maybe you have family. Any connection to the area that is possible. This is a universal ride, so any spirits that wanted to hop
Nice
in.
to meet you.
Thank you, Edwin. It is nice to meet you as well. I'm glad that you could join me for our little Spirit Talk Box ride home. Alright, I call this my Seatbelt Spirit Talker. And I may change the name of it to something that suits. How can I help you tonight, Edwin? Can you tell me a little bit about yourself? You mentioned a name of Stacy. Is she a relative of yours? Please don't be afraid to speak. couple of spirits that we've tested this out with.
We know you.
Awesome. So Edwin and Stacy are familiar with me. That's awesome, Edwin. And Stacy, if you're here too. I mean, I'm more than happy to Uber any spirits around that need to be transported to different spots. I like driving, so hey, there's a spirit that wants to hop in and join my ride. That's awesome too. And unfortunately, it's dark out. It's nighttime, so.
Shadow.
Yes, you would see a shadow right around dusk time. Can you see the shadow of the car as we go along? I don't know what time frame you're from or time period, but my last couple of spirit talks that I've had on my rides home Monday and Tuesday night, majority of the spirits have told me that they were from the 1900s. Pull. I'm not exactly. Oh, pull. Okay, so maybe, Edwin, your time period, it was horse and buggy and you were pulled by the horse. Well, that would probably put you in the 1800s, 1900s. It'd have to be really early 1900s. Unless your family was rich and maybe they had one of the first automobiles as they were designed. And as we go through town on the ride home, if you're familiar with the area, it'll have
14.
14. So you were 14 years old? Is that your age before you passed was 14? Or maybe you were from around these parts of New England? Did you have family in the area? Sorry guys, I have the window open. I quit smoking 3 weeks ago, so I have the habit of opening the window because I was smoked. And now I don't do that, so, you know, habits are hard to change. It takes a lot of time sometimes. Alright, so Edwin, you introduced me to Edwin and Stacy. You know me. I guess you saw the shadow reflection of the car or something because it is nightfall.
There's a shapeshifter.
There's a shapeshifter. Okay, tell me more. Because the last few nights I've had spirit with me that was telling me she was, the one last night, she was captured and she was held by somebody. She was able to escape. And I wish I had gotten that like tonight, but unfortunately it didn't work out that way. However, so
Roman.
Okay, so we've got, there's a shapeshifter and Roman. Roman as in like Roman Catholic, which we do for those listening in on the ride home. Roman Catholic is here. We have Polish, Jewish as well around town. It's a very diverse cultural town. last night we got into dark magic as well. So there is some satanic worship.
I like the dark.
Well, I'm glad you like the dark, Edwin. It's nighttime, and this is when I do my ride home, so feel free to chat. I asked you if you were from the area. I don't want to keep harping on the same question, so whether you were around these parts or somewhere else, I'm excited to hear more about you. Not very chatty yet. That's okay, that's cool. We don't have to talk for a long time. I know you like the dark.
Tall.
Tall. Okay, so your name is Edwin. I'm assuming you were 14 at the time, or you are at the time that you're speaking with me. Maybe you acknowledge a time when you were 14. You were tall. Maybe you were Roman Catholic. That's very possible. And you like the dark. Or you're observing it as being dark out. I also went through...
18.
You're 18. Okay. Is that 18 spirits that are riding with us? Or you were a young man when you passed, maybe? My town goes back. It has a long history. So anything's possible. Like I said, it is an old factory town. And it also had a big business in farming. And a lot of farmland along with it. Is there anything that you see that I don't that might be familiar? Because you're welcome to give me clues, and I will piece it together for you.
Edna.
Edna. Was Edna a mother, a grandmother, an aunt, a wife, a family member? Edna. I'm trying to think of as it goes and gives me names, I try to piece it together piece by piece. It's turned out to be a pretty fun ride home the last few nights. Especially, I had one say cemetery, angel, just as we're going by the cemetery. Which was really cool. Because it kind of makes me think that whoever I'm communicating with understands possibly what they're seeing or their energy is seeing. So, Edwin.
Mist.
Mist. Is that how you present people? Is like in a mist shape? This is the Center Street Cemetery that we're coming by. That definitely date back 200 and 300 years. And Center Street Cemetery also is the burial ground. And for anybody that wants to look it up, you can look up the shoebox killer. Or the shoebox murder. Sorry, that's how it was. And yes, it was featured in, I believe, Kindred Spirits episode. It was called the shoebox killer.
Witness.
You were a witness? Are you from the time of the shoebox killing? Because that remains unsolved around here. Because all they ever really had was limbs and a torso. They never identified the gentleman found. I do believe that they did settle with, it was a gentleman. So were you a part of that, Edwin? Do you have a surname you'd like to share?
Private.
Private. So, okay, I'll assume that it's a private matter. You witnessed something and you don't want to speak of it. That's absolutely fine. That's not a problem. I only want you to share as much as you're comfortable with. It'll get better as... Excuse me, guys. My apologies. You drink a hot apple cider and you end up with the burps. Or the burpees, whatever you want to say. And I'll note, too, that the window's got to be cleaned. We have our driveway paved at work. So... they've been tearing up tar and laying new tar in. I'm just tired of cleaning the car because it gets dusty the same.
Potential.
Okay, so you've got some potential in giving me more additional information about you? Hey, I'd love to talk about the shoebox killing if you want to share any information on it. Do you have... Were you from the period of the shoebox killing? And I'm happy to insert a little information at the
I
end.
can scare you.
I'm sure you could try to scare me, that if I'm startled. Please don't do it while I'm driving, though. That's one thing I've requested from my spirit rides. It's not to scare me while I'm driving, because that can make potential danger. I mean, if you want to try to shock me, that, you know, I'm open to anything. I'm not really easily scared, but yes, you may startle me. That's cool. I can handle that. You want to touch me? I can handle that too. However, I will say that you cannot harm me. I have the light and love of God.
Angry.
Angry. Are you angry, Edward? Are you angry? Maybe you witnessed something to do with this shoot box, and I'm making a lot of assumptions, so please don't feel offended. I'm just trying to piece everything together. You may not be from around here, but when I did mention the shoebox murder, you said you witnessed, so I'm assuming that maybe you're familiar with that story. And I certainly, if you witnessed it, or a witness to it, that would make perfect sense to me, where it's private, and that you may be angry because you feel that you can't talk about it. But hey, I'm more than willing to listen if you're willing to share.
This is amazing.
This is cool, isn't it? I mean, to be able to communicate. Maybe you want somebody or wanted to speak with somebody. There's another cemetery up the hill here, if you go right. We have all kinds of cemeteries around here. I feel like I'm taking everybody on a tour of not being able to see anything, but sorry. This is what I call my decompression ride home. But to get back to it, hopefully the cop doesn't. Nope, he's good. So you find this amazing. Is it nice that you're able to communicate and get your words out? I know, I'm sure it can be frustrating at times. If you have something you want to say, but you're just not quite sure how to go about getting it covered or getting it out for somebody.
10.
10. Okay, 10. What could be 10? I know it's not. I'm not sure the number of the businesses around here. Let's see here. I think it's like 800, so it can't be as 10. We just came off Route 5. That's a thoroughfare of town. Route 10. There is a Route 10. Are you from the area where Route 10 runs around?
Basement.
The basement. Okay. With enough of the information that I do know on the shoebox killing, 10 in the basement may connect a little bit. There's not a lot known because there was one witness that came forward and then he recanted his statement after the fact. Or they did. I can't. He or she retracted their statement.
Edge.
Edge of what? Did you live on the edge of town? Okay, so for those listening in, just sorry, my ears feel like they're gonna pop. Just to kind of recap a little bit, some of the words that Edwin has given me. The number 10, basement.
I had a long life.
Good, Edwin. I'm happy to hear that you didn't die young. That is good news. I'm glad you had a long life. I'm trying to tell the people listening in and share it, that are listening in, listening to your story as it goes. Route 10 and basement on the edge of town would make sense to the shoebox killings. And again, there's not a lot known on it. They just found a torso and other parts. So Edwin's sharing with me that I've gotten a few numbers, so I've been trying to connect if he was younger. I've gotten 14, 18, and then he says that he had a long...
Don't go.
I'm not going anywhere anytime soon, Edwin. I mean, I've got a ride home, so please feel free to share some more if you'd like. I'm certainly interested in hearing what you have to say. You're more than welcome to follow along until I get home. But I have been asking that they not come in the house because, you know, I have other people in the house that are not as open to the paranormal, or I really would rather you not scare them or present yourselves to them. They're not as open to it.
Frequent.
I have frequent encounters with the spirit world, but I don't share that a lot. It gets misunderstood, if you know what I mean. Got a beautiful moon. I kind of hope that it'll show. See a little bit of it. I saw it when I was turning.
Gertrude.
Gertrude. Well, see, now, last night, the spirit I was talking to was giving me names of my family members. Now, nobody can laugh at this. Well, you might. I certainly won't know about it. My aunt's name was Mabel Gertrude, so if you're familiar with her in the spirit world, you can tell her Pam sent her love.
Knife.
Knife. Are we back to the shoebox killing? Hey, don't get me wrong. I have a habit of drifting off subject, so if we're circling back around to that, I would definitely say if they just found the torso and whatnot of the victim, yes, a knife was used. So if you lived a long life, then I guess you've carried on knowing more information about this. Did anybody ever try to speak with you on it?
Bye.
Bye. Are you leaving me, Edwin? I mean, feel free. That's fine. I'm in for the ride for the... Never mind my rambling, people, please. So I'm not sure if Edwin has said goodbye and we're going to pick up another spirit as we go. It's very possible. Doesn't appear he wanted to talk about the shoebox killing anymore.
Power.
Yeah, well, power would make sense. They're doing, whoever I'm speaking with, welcome if it's not Edwin. Thank you for joining Uber Ghost Transport, if that's what you want to call it, Uber Spirit Transport. Anyhow, the power that you're talking about, if you're seeing what I'm seeing around me, even though it's dark and nobody else can see it, the power lines, they're taking and redoing all the major power fairways around here. So, power could be in regards to it. We just walked by it. I don't know about y'all, but I drove by it. And we got Christmas lights out. I don't know if you all are going to see that or not. That's the first house I've seen the Christmas lights out with. Very cool. I love witch. Uh-oh. Are we getting back into the witchcraft and stuff? That was a subject that I had on both Monday and Tuesday night on my ride home. Sorry, it gets a little warm in that car. Who am I speaking with now? Am I still speaking with Edwin? Give me a little more information if you can, please. I'm not going to ask you a million questions. I'm just asking, trying to figure out more pieces to this puzzle. It's been fun. Oh.
Peter.
Your name is Peter? Well, welcome, Peter. It's nice to meet you. My name is Pam. The moon is beautiful. I wish y'all could see it. But I can't fidget with the camera while I'm driving. So, Peter, would you like to communicate? Is there some information you can give me about yourself? Do you know Edwin? He was here talking to us for a short bit, but he's...
Zachary.
Zachary. Is that a relative? Or do I have Zachary and Edwin with me? And Peter. Hey, I'm not saying anybody has to leave. This car has got plenty of room for any spirit that wants to tag along. You'd really like this area. There's a lot of farming land around.
Brother.
Okay, so Zachary was your brother? Okay. Well, so you were Peter. Zachary is your brother. Well, that is awesome. I am so glad that you can share this information with me. So, did you have any other family besides your brother Zachary? Very talkative spirit, huh? That's okay.
Altar.
Okay, so we got witch and altar. So I'm going back to my theory that there was a little bit of Wiccan, pagan, and satanic around the area. We have a place called Sleeping Giant.
Go right.
Go right. I will be going right once I get to the end of the road here. It will take us out through some cemeteries in that area. So you're going to have to bear with me there, Peter. I'm happy to go right once I get to the end of the street. Pretty soon, some of these houses too. You'll see them as we get along in the season. If I find that I get any, you know what? I'm probably gonna keep doing these Seatbelt Spirit Talk rides because I've enjoyed. Joan, welcome.
Joan.
Was Joan a relation to you, Peter? You shared that Zachary was your brother. And I'm kind of getting the impression that maybe, getting off topic a little bit, that you had some association to the, I wouldn't call it dark magic, because Wiccan and pagan are not all evil. It's more of a relation to the earth, the wind, the spirits, the elements. Were you directly related to that, or maybe your brother Zachary or Joan that you mentioned? We're coming up on the cemetery where my husband...
I'm sorry.
What are you sorry for? Y'all can't see, but over on my left-hand side, it's St. Peter and Paul Cemetery. And that's where my husband and my father-in-law and I believe it's my mother-in-law's side of the family is buried. Who's sorry for what? Can you give me a little more clarification there? Did you have to leave, Peter? Is that what you're sorry? Is you had to leave?
Stella.
Stella. Okay. Are Joan and Stella maybe sisters or relatives of you, Peter? Unless Peter is the spirit of my grandfather-in-law. His name was Peter. He's buried back at that cemetery. Down the road there was a pizzeria called Stella's Pizza.
Francis.
Are these spirits that you know, Peter? Because Frances is my aunt. She had passed in early 2013. Late 2013. I think it was August. Are these spirits that are around you, Peter? And I'm sorry if I'm calling you the wrong name, but I'm going by what you've given me for information as we go along. Do you have any connection to the area at all? There's a nursing home here, where my son used to work before he became a paramedic.
He scares me.
Who scares you, Peter? There's a cemetery here called St. John's Cemetery. Who scares you, Peter? Please don't be scared while you're with me. There's nobody in this car that's gonna harm you. the name Francis?
Ethel.
Ethel. These are some older names from what you're giving me. Ethel would be a older given name. Do you have any surnames that you can give to me that might help me connect these names together? Now it's lighting up. It's lighting up a little bit more. We're coming through.
Stop the camera.
I can't do that right now. I'm driving. Is there something that shouldn't be seen? Right now we're coming through a place called Choate, or the Choate campus. You can look that up too. It's a prep school for the Richie Rich.
False.
False? Am I not telling? Well, it is a prep school. That's not false. I mean, it's more rich families that send their children here from all over the globe. So it's not 100% false, but yes, there are families that can be granted scholarships to attend. So apparently Peter's correcting me and I've given a false statement.
Funny.
Do you find me humorous trying to explain when I'm wrong? I'll argue and pun my way out of any situation. That's just one of my qualities. In general, I don't call myself funny, but that's okay. You might find it funny the way I'm trying to talk around things. But I'm very good.
Harriet.
Harriet was the name that I got last night. Can you give me a last name to Harriet? That would be great to see the more Christmas lights. Harriet was my great-grandmother. Do you know her surname? If you could tell me that, I would be floored. For it to tell me the same information 2 nights in a row. It's a little park over here. I'm surprised the cops aren't there tonight, but we have a children's playground that was set on fire by some juvenile delinquents. And I say juvenile delinquents because they had...
Collapse.
Yes. It did collapse. It was a beautiful wooden playground for children, and it was torched, and it collapsed. And with all the voting that we did yesterday, the town voted to allot funds to replace it whenever that happens. I mean, I think our mayor... And I'm sorry, I don't like doing politics, but I definitely think our mayor is still stuck in the past. Because we're about the only town you can't pay a lot of your bills online. Just saying. So anybody...
Wealthy.
Yes. This town is a wealthy town. Not me personally, but yes, you've got it right. It is a wealthy town. And I'm smelling skunky right now. Yuck. The foul smell. So, Peter has given us a little bit of information. But I still want to know if you can tell me Harriet's surname. I don't mean to be pushy, but I would be interested to see if I could prove. And I can prove.
Please go right.
I can go left. I can't go right because there's no road to go bright on. So we'll go left and then we'll go right. We can do that. How about that? So we'll go left here. And then I can take a right. So just hang on. We'll get there. Get to go by the high school, which is on my right. Sorry, my left. And the junior high.
What's in your hand?
Aha, what's in my hand? What's in my hand is a vape pen. So if anybody sees, there's a vape pen. This is called a vape pen. I quit smoking and I picked up one of these instead. So this is called a vape pen. I don't know if y'all saw that or not. But anyway, I have a vape pen in my hand. This is a church over to our right. How do you feel on religion?
Nancy.
Well, this is Peter, and it's Peter, that spirit that I may or may not know. Nancy would have been your daughter. Is that who I'm speaking with? Is Peter? Are you my grandfather-in-law? Because you would be very familiar with the area. You knew a lot of people, and you were on the older side when you passed away. You lived a long life. And I don't think spirits are limited to meeting other relatives that passed and present. You didn't meet me directly because you had passed just before I met and married my husband, your grandson.
Private.
You want to stay private about that? Okay. Well, that would make sense for Peter. Some things were left unsaid, so okay. So we're gonna go left here. As soon as this dude decides what he's doing, or he, dude that, whatever. Okay, so Peter, is there anything more you'd like to talk on? So I don't want to make this really long. I think we're hitting an hour here pretty soon, so I may have to divide it up or edit out as we go. Because
I'll get you.
okay. You'll get me? What are you gonna get me? See, now, sometimes I get a little bit of nasty comments as we go along, too. So, I'm not 100% sure if I have a spirit that just likes to put in their 2 cents as we go along or not. I'm assuming with the spirit talker that any spirit, because I allow any spirit to come through and speak, I just try to piece it together and make sense. And I could drive for hours. I love driving, so just saying.
Pagan.
Thank you, Pagan. We were just talking about that. We were just talking about that. So you're listening, you're picking up bits and pieces of it. So I jump around a little bit, so I do apologize. But like I said, if you speak to me, I try to go back and piece everything together. And I'll do a summary at the end of these Spirit Talker sessions. If anything, I'm going to have to look for different routes around. So I could ride in circles and be happy. And I know it's dark out, so y'all are not seeing much at the moment, but...
Struggle.
Are you struggling with the fact that you passed on? That you're missing people? Going over the train tracks now. And anybody that's listening to this, I do appreciate you making it through. As far as I can see, it's still recording, so hopefully it goes the distance this time. Last night my conversation was cut off, which could be that the spirits just didn't want anybody to listen in to our conversation, which I can respect.
I've been watching you.
Sorry guys, I guess. Oh. That one had to come out. Bless me, thank you. I don't mind if you've been watching me. That's perfectly fine. Sometimes it feels nice to know that somebody's watching you. And I especially believe in spirits watching over us to make sure we're safe and cared for. Going right again. Are you familiar with the area?
We need energy.
Excuse me. I can imagine that you would need energy. It takes a lot for a spirit to communicate. It takes a lot of energy from other sources. I mean, maybe with the car because the battery's running and the alternator recharges the battery, maybe you can draw more spirit. More energy, not spirit, that way.
Dorothy.
Dorothy. Okay, well, you've given me a lot of first names. How about a surname? It's a lot easier to connect names to an area if you can give me a last name, surname to go with it. I've extended my ride already, so we're not going to have a whole lot more time before I have to shut this down.
Brother.
Brother. Were you connected to the Old Brothers restaurant? There was a restaurant in town named Brothers. I've never heard. And don't take any judgment by this, but I've never had a brother or known of a gentleman named Dorothy. Now, with that said, that there's no judgment there.
She shouts.
She shouts. Dorothy shouts. So she was a loud person, huh? I know a person like that. My mother-in-law is hard of hearing, and I'm telling you, man, she is so loud. Oh, let's see in my mirror, so see if we can trade you around a little bit. Oh, that...
Nellie.
Sounds like Nellie Olson. Anybody that ever watched Little House on the Prairie? Nellie Olson, she shouted a lot. But then again, so did her mother. We hitting some traffic now, man. I kind of just did a circle and ended up back right.
Hot.
Are you hot in the car? I've got the thermostat up to 83, so I'm happy to turn it down a little bit for you. I can turn it down. I don't know if you don't like it hot or if it's too hot in here. I do apologize if you don't like it hot. Or you could mean that Nellie is hot.
Sickness took me.
You would be correct, Peter. If it's Peter that I'm thinking of, yes. Sickness took you. You passed away from an illness. That would be absolutely correct. Because, Peter, you were in your 90s when you passed away, if you're the spirit I believe you are. And you're my grandfather-in-law. Hey, look, guys, we got a Five Guy burger here now. See? Oh,
She killed us.
Oops. Sorry, guys, bear with me for a minute. Don't go anywhere. Here we go. I don't know if it's recording now or not. Yep, it is. Sorry, guys. You tumbled. Okay, don't say anything about that, Peter. I dropped my camera in them, and
Edith.
Edith. Huh. Edith is a name I haven't heard in a long time. You mention all these names, and some of them give me, if you're associated with spirits within your family type, and not a lot of these names connect, but it bounces back and forth. Some of these older names are from my side of the family. Others would be from my husband's side of the family. So, wow. That does seem a bit cool. I mean, the spirit talker definitely can give you some interesting...
Disagree.
You disagree with what I just said? Well, I'm one of those, I constantly will say I will have to agree to disagree. So that's fine. You can disagree with me. Perfectly respectable. Okay, though, I'm going to have to say thank you for your time, though, Peter, because forest. There's no
Forest.
There's no forest around here, not anymore. It's all gone now. They keep building different buildings and whatnot. Somebody named Santa gave somebody a horn, and they're using it.
Aldous.
Okay. Was Aldous a surname? Well, we can go this way. When in doubt, go right. So we'll go towards Quinnipiac. Is Aldous a surname? I'm going to ask again. Can you say yes or no?
Edwardian.
Edwardian. Those are some pretty interesting names there, Peter. And anybody listening in, I'm just making assumptions based off what Spirit is telling me. But that's some pretty interesting surnames if they are such. I asked for surnames, so when I try to piece all this together...
Nice to meet you.
Thank you. It's nice to meet you as well. See, the spirits are very nice through the communication device. Spirit Talker, I really enjoy the app itself because they've been very pleasant. The last two spirits that I've spoken with have all been very pleasant and polite. I've gotten a few comments that may or may not be disrespectful, but we can work on that.
Stop the camera.
I'm going to have to stop the camera pretty soon because it's going to run out of battery life here pretty soon. I only have an hour and something on this SD card, so You know, anything's possible. Though I'm not going to stop it on my own. If you have the energy, I'm interested to see if you can shut the camera off. You may not understand the ability that you have to touch things and affect them. Look at that. I'm going the speed limit. Am I good or what?
Christine.
Okay, you've given me plenty of names to research. And a couple of surnames to look into. This is your chance now, Peter, we're going to be wrapping things up here. We're going by the church again. So, Peter, now is your chance if you...
Morning.
They have some pretty early services at the church. They do have a 7 a.m. service. Peter, that I know, was associated a bit with that church. I'm just being nosy, people. I'm always curious why there's so many cars around at the junior high and not the high school, or vice versa.
Fortune.
They certainly spent a fortune building these schools or renovating them. Peter, you've got to be my grandfather-in-law, because the way you, or the comments and words that you give me, definitely seem very much like you, based off the stories I've heard. Again, I can only assume. Alright, pretty soon, Peter, I'm going to be home, so... Again, I ask you if there's anything you'd like to say relevant to our conversation or anything else, please feel free, because we're going to have to shut it down soon.
Camera.
Okay, I'm going to go back and watch this. You've asked me, each spirit that I've talked to has asked me to shut this camera off. I don't know if it's afraid I picked something up that I shouldn't be seeing or whatnot, but I'm gonna go back and watch it. I haven't seen anything that really shocks me, or that I shouldn't be seeing. There's a funeral home over here to my left. Nothing to say about that either, huh?
Seth.
Okay, with that funeral home we went past, one of the owners' first name is Seth. Very good spirits. I've really enjoyed this. I put my blinker on and I'm not turning yet, but that's okay. Nobody stops at this stop sign anyway, normally. Oh, okay, cool. Well, you're letting me go for once. How about that?
Out.
Out is right. I'm almost home and I'm going to be getting out. So I want to thank all my spirits that have joined us tonight in our Uber Spirit ride. I'm still working on a name for the show as I do it along the way, so I've given it a few tries just to see which one really hits. I like Uber Spirit Talk. Maybe we'll try Uber Spirit Talk and see how that works. Let's see, we're almost home now.
I once lived here.
Interesting. You once lived around the area or at the house? I'm not going to say what's what. It's dark, so y'all can't see anything really anyway. Alright, Spirit. I am home now, so I thank you for joining me for the ride. And I really enjoyed it, so I look forward to our ride again tomorrow night on our way home. And see if we have any new spirits that pick up on anything or want to discuss with us. Or join us for Uber Spirit Ride. And have a little discussion as we ride home. Until then, thank you.